Hi, I'm Chris Hutchins from Blakes and Taylors. In this video I will be showing you how to service a paraffin burner. There are two main types of paraffin burner, 2-leg and 4-leg. I'm going to be working on this 2-leg burner for the purpose of this video. When servicing a paraffin burner, you first need to remove the burner from the heater or cooker. Start by loosening off the locking nut. Once loose, you can undo the connection nut. Obviously this will normally be in situ on the heater, but to make the video easier I've got a little setup here. Remove the burner bracket. You see this is the aluminium washer that's come off, and that normally sits inside there like that. Okay, that just creates a seal, stop any paraffin leaking out. With the burner off, the next step is to remove the outer cap, followed by the inner cap. This can be done by hand. Simply turn it so that the grooves line up with the two little fasteners in place there, and then lift that off and lift off the inner cap as well. And you should end up with a burner that looks like this, off the heater or cooker, and the top cap's removed. It's also worth noting, always have a bit of blue roll handy in case of any leftover paraffin in the burner, and gloves as well. Paraffin can be quite an irritation to the hands and dry them out, so it's always best to wear gloves when doing this. The next step is to remove the main jet from the top of the burner. This is made a lot easier with one of our tools. These are available on our website. That slides down in there. Just a little turn anti-clockwise. I'll put the link in the description for the tools that we sell on our website. That drops out. Pop that to the side. So then the next step is to remove the cleaning needle, which is located down inside the burner. To do that, just give the spindle a turn. The needle will lift up, and then once you've done that, you can use a pair of tweezers to go down and lift the needle out. So the next step is to remove the packing screw, so this bit here. We sell these, obviously this one's not been chromed and it's been sat around in the factory for a while. But again, I'll put the link in the description. Just give that a little turn and then that frees off. You can do it by hand. That comes off. And then we can take the spindle out. Just continue turning it anti-clockwise so the thread comes loose and the spindle comes out. So on the spindle, we've got two other components. We've got the graphite washer, that comes off, and the brass washer as well, that comes off. And then we've got the spindle itself. And as we take things off, check for wear on the spindle, on any of the threads. Check the condition of each component as you strip down. And finally, we need to remove the gauze from underneath. This can be a bit tricky, hopefully it won't be today. Maybe it will be today. There we go. So the gauze can come out and that will be replaced as well. So we now have a completely stripped down burner. So now that we've got our burner completely broken down, this is the contents of the burner spares kit. This is a single kit. We do a double as well. So this one's the CTK 1061. We also do a 1062. So if you've got two burners on a cooker, buy the two. But for this is just the CTK 1061. So this is the contents of the kit. You get your blanking plate, a balancing jet, a fibre washer that normally sits at the base of the burner like that, and that will sit inside the spirit cup as well. A R-clip for your control knob spindle to attach to the burner spindle, and then we've got the gauze filter, the packing screw, the main jet, the cleaning needle, graphite washer, aluminium washer there as well, and the brass packing washer and the brass spindle. So for reassembly of the burner, we're going to work backwards through the process. So we're going to start by replacing the gauze filter. And what I tend to do with this is leave the wire wrapped around it and insert it into the burner as it is. It just makes the whole process a lot easier. We can then undo the wire and push it the rest of the way into the burner. Next step is to take the spindle and the brass washer goes on, followed by the graphite washer, and then that can be inserted into the burner. And turn it clockwise so that it threads back in. And sometimes there's a slight discrepancy in size because of the graphite, so we can use the packing screw just to push it into place, and then the packing screw can be screwed on. Be careful with this not to over tighten the packing screw, because what will happen then is you'll crush the graphite washer so much that it then needs replacing all over again. So sort of finger tight and a little turn just to make sure that's in place. So you should still be able to have free movement of the spindle. So the next step is to insert the cleaning needle back into the burner. To do this, we need to make sure that the spindle is turned all the way to the right, and then so that's the closed position. So then we turn it 180 degrees or thereabouts, and using either a pair of tweezers or a matchstick, you can insert the needle into the end of a matchstick and it works the same, but I'm using tweezers here. We're going to take the needle and lower it down into the burner so it sits like that. Then this bit can be quite fiddly, but we're going to turn that back and forth like that until the needle sits in and drops down. So you can see needle comes up, needle goes down, up, down. So actually that is probably the quickest I've ever done that, so chuffed to bits. If you are taking a bit of time, just be patient with it, it will sit in there. This is the most fiddly part of the whole process. So once the needle sits down onto the thread of the spindle and pulls down into the burner, all then is left to do is to put the main jet back on. Again, I'm using tweezers because I think it just makes everything a bit easier. Lower that down into the burner and do a small turn with the tweezers, and then going back to our tool for the main jet tool, just tighten that down, give a little final turn there. So that is now back on the burner. Final part is to replace the burner inner cap and the burner outer cap, and that just turns so that it's supposed to lock into position. Oh, there we go. So that's down. Just give it a little turn, and now that locks in. And that is how to service paraffin burner.